welcome. As we've done in years past, rather than do just the generic sort of audiobooks for Halloween time, we do more original stuff. Generally, I read my own stories. Last year, Elizabeth Lynn Blackson read one of hers. This year, I'm going to be reading one of mine each of the 3 weeks leading up to Halloween. For the first one, I'm going to go with a very, very, very short story. It's a microfiction piece called Green Crunchy Things, but I want to give you some background on it first. First off, it's available in this book, which just recently came out, A Gallery of Oddities, More Collected Writings of Gary Hill. However, I want to push the book that it came out in first, which is a really, really cool book. It is put together by Deborah Coldiron, and it's called Cooks of Horror. Now, this book there's a group on Facebook called Books of Horror, and the call went out to anyone who's a horror writer to submit recipes to this book because it is a cookbook. But it's a cookbook that also includes fiction pieces, some poetry, and everything. And so I've got a recipe in here for Scary Gary's Not So Scary Meatloaf, which you can definitely check out. And you won't find that in my other book over there that I just showed you. But I included a microfiction piece called Green Crunchy Things. Now, why did I come up with the title Green Crunchy Things? There's an interesting story behind that, which I do actually talk about in here, but not in the other book. You see, my wife does not like veggies. And so if you get, like, specifically celery, like in things like ham salad, she'll pick it out and she calls it Green Crunchy Things. So I thought about doing a story called Green Crunchy Things and making it a horror story because the meatloaf that I do in here is very veggie free as well, so for that very reason. So I thought I would do the story, and I think it's a fun little story. Again, seriously, microfiction. And so I'm going to go ahead and read that to you now from the teleprompter. The invitation had promised unique and exciting cuisine. It had gone on to say that the one-time pop-up would be a once-in-a-lifetime experience. To say it was exclusive was an understatement. When Franklin and Pam arrived, they saw that there were only 6 tables, with 2 chairs at each table. After a time, one of the tables was removed as one of the couples hadn't arrived on time. The invitation had stated that no one would be admitted after 6:20. Apparently they weren't joking. Franklin had wondered if the no exit part would be similarly enforced. The meal came in 7 courses. Each course featured some form of game or exotic meat prepared in a method that was traditional in a different, small, virtually unknown cuisine. The food was amazing and so different from anything they had ever eaten before. Franklin was very glad that his business partner had gotten him and Pam on the guest list. He wondered why Sam and his wife hadn't made it, though. After the final course, the chef sat down with the couples to talk about the various foods. Pam, enjoying the euphoric, relaxing glow of an amazing once-in-a-lifetime meal, asked a question. I'm curious, in the 3rd course there were green crunchy things that I couldn't identify. Were they some sort of celery variety? The chef answered, actually, that's a very special ingredient. Using an ancient technique from an isolated island in the Pacific, smaller bones are treated to make them a little more pliable than normal, so that they can be cut and chewed. The process changes the color to green. Pam's head was starting to swim. She had a tingling in the lower half of her body. What kind of bones? She got out. Oh, human, of course. Every bit of meat you had tonight was human. Pam felt a scream, but her mouth wouldn't work. She looked around the room and saw with terror that all the other guests were unconscious. As her mind began to lose focus, she heard the chef say, "You will all be part of the meal at our event in the next town. Don't worry, the substance that caused the tranquilizing effect of the last course won't taint the meat. I wouldn't want to spoil anyone's final dining experience." Well, I hope you enjoyed that story and the story about how it came about. And I'll be back next week with another story for you. Spooky Ventures is the home for spooky content and spooky merchandise on the web. Check it out today at spookyventures.com. And remember, always keep it spooky.